On a cool evening here in Huntsville, it's the United Student Movement Election Night 2023. Good evening. We're live from the Peters Media Center on the campus of Oakwood University. This is Oakwood Votes, a collaborative effort between the Broadcast Journalism Program in the Department of Communication and the United Student Movement, the USM.
Oakwood students went to the virtual polls today to vote in the president and cabinet of the 67th. Oakwood students went to the virtual polls today to vote in the president and cabinet of the 67th regime of this historic student government body. And as we continue to make history, for the first time, you will be able to view the 2023 USM election results live with us here at the studio.
I'm Trania Blackman.
And I'm Nate Taylor. Polls closed 30 minutes ago, and as we speak, the USM parliamentarians are working assiduously to retrieve the results.
We'll let you know when those are ready. In the meantime, let's hear the names of the candidates for positions in the 67th Cabinet of the United Student Movement. Starting with our academic vice president candidate, we have Aaliyah Lambert and Jonathan Gunthrope. Aaliyah Lambert is a junior allied health pre-occupational therapy major. Jonathan is a junior finance major. Running for religious vice president are David Holmes and Jivinson Ulisti. David is a junior theology major and is interested in being a part of USM next year to see the move of God. Jevinson is a junior ministerial theology major. Financial vice president, social vice president, and athletic vice president each have one candidate running. Those candidates are Kyla Scott, Kelechi Nwachukwu, and Gabriana Jean. Kyla is a junior finance major and currently serves as USM senator for the School of Business. Kelechi is a junior pre-law major. Gabriana is a junior social work major and currently serves as USM's athletic vice president. For vice president, we have Mark Awani and Malika Jarvis. Mark is a junior biology major and currently serves as USM senator for the School of Arts and Sciences. Malika Jarvis, who is a junior pre-law major and currently serves as USM senator for the School of Education and Social Sciences. For parliamentarian positions, it's between Lauren McClever and Paige Whitaker. Lauren is a junior public policy major and currently serves as a USM justice. Paige is a junior social work major and currently serves as USM Special Projects Director. Running for president, we have Josiah Murray and Michael Hall. Josiah is a junior theology major and currently serves as USM's music coordinator. Michael is a junior biology major and currently serves as USM's executive vice president.
Thank you, Trenia. In order to know where you're going, you must know where you are coming from. With that in mind, we have in the studio with us President of USM, Keelan Crum, and Parliamentarian David Reed. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yes. So, Mr. President first, big year for you. How was the year for your administration?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Nate, thank you once again for having me on. This year has went by pretty smooth. This is the first year that my team, we did not have an active student activities director, and somehow we were able to manage with the help that we have received from Ms. Audrey Johnson. And I will say that we have done this with diligence and with dignity, you know, and so I'm very grateful for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Student life this year, you know, it's an integral part of what makes Oakwood University what it is. What have you done to make student life what it is?
Well, as you know, Nate, none of the students, including myself, we will never agree on everything that happens here at Oakwood. And one of the things that I fought so hard to ensure is that there is better Wi-Fi for everybody. As you know, coming into this school year and all the things that we happened last school year, we're still struggling with those issues. We have Wi-Fi only works on a certain part of the campus, and to this day, even this morning, I'm still fighting to make sure that the Wi-Fi is working for everybody. It doesn't even work for me sometimes, and it doesn't work on my phone either. And so I'm trying my best, myself and my team, to ensure that the Wi-Fi quality is better, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now for you, Mr. Parliamentarian, could you go through the process of how to get this election up and running? Can you kind of go through the process of what that is like?
Yeah, definitely. The executive election is the second election that we have every school year. And applications for that open in December, and we continue reviewing applicants up until the application date closes. And from that point, we review candidates, make sure that they fit all the qualifications that we need, move forward to the candidate stage, have them get their endorsement signatures from current students, and then begin campaigning. Campaigning will usually last for 2 to 3 weeks before the actual election commences, and then election day, and here we are, ready to receive the results.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. Parliamentarian. Back to you, Mr. President. Today, a few students indicated how their lack of interest in voting. What do you think needs to be done to improve that and to have a better turnout for next year's election?
Well, Nate, it bothers me that students feel the need not to vote in the USM elections. One of the things that I'm working on is making sure that student engagement amongst the united student movement is better, to encourage students not only to run for executive positions, but to run for your school, for Senate, to be a representative, to be a voice amongst those group of students who may not want to speak out. You know, I believe this year we've had a significance, an increase, I should say, of voter turnout today, as I've seen the footwork of many candidates. And so I think that's what is needed. This is the first time in a little while that we've had some competition. And so that's always good, because I feel when the student bodies see that, they're eager to know, well, what does each candidate have to offer? And when you see what each candidate has to offer, the diversity and their different leadership skills, it makes you want to vote. You know, and I was happy to cast my vote this morning in this year's election.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now that your term is winding up as president of USM, for the rest of this spring semester, what plans do you have left on the table before you are finished?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Nate. In less than the 90 days that I do have, I plan to try my best to continue to be the voice of the student body, continue to lead this movement with dignity and respect, to put forth my best effort to see that the needs of the students are met. And even if I don't agree with anything and everything, I will try my best to make sure that the voice is heard on the other side of the table. That's what's needed this spring semester, and that's exactly what's needed next school year as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Last question, I want to thank both of you gentlemen once again for being a part of this. What, again, for the president, what is your advice to the incoming candidates for USM this year?
My advice would be for the incoming candidates is that whatever you do, do it in honor, do it in dignity, and make sure that your service isn't of self, but it is that for everyone surrounding you.
Yes, yes. Well, gentlemen, thank you both once again for coming. Congratulations on a successful process. Let's go back to Trinia, who has a special guest.
Our special guest will be coming in later, but for right now, the presidential candidacy is being ran by two people, excuse me. Jamina Louise Ferdinand has more.
February 23rd marked the end of the election campaign for candidates running for president of the United Student Movement. Michael Hall, a junior majoring in biology, is one such candidate.
Well, I've been a part of USM for 3 years now. I have a real passion for the students here at Oakwood University, and I want to see change being made on campus.
He says he is aiming to build a better relationship between the student and the school administration.
Well, the first thing I want to do is build a relationship between administration and the students. The second thing I want to do is implement new worship services as well as new social events. The third thing I want to make sure that I do is make sure that there's an open communication between administration and the students.
Hall says that his past experiences serving in the USM gives him special knowledge of the coveted position.
I've been a part of USM for 3 years since I got to Oakwood. I know how USM works. I know how USM is run. I believe Josiah is a great guy. He's held leadership positions before, but I feel like I'm better. And at the end of the day, I just have more experience than Josiah does.
I am Jemina Luz Ferdinand for Oakwood Vote.
That was Michael Hall, candidate for president of the United Student Movement.
Let's now go to the polls. At 1 p.m. today, in the race for religious vice president, candidate Jemison Ulisti secured 51.9% of the vote, with his opponent, David Holmes, coming in at 46.1%, a tightly contested race.
Indeed, Trinia. In the race for academic vice president, candidate Aaliyah Lambert had 56.1% of the vote, with her opponent, Jonathan Gunthrope, scoring 40.9% of the vote.
For parliamentarian, Lauren McCliver at 1 p.m. had 57.6% of the vote, with 38.5% going to her opponent, Paige Whitaker.
We'll update you on the other races in just a bit. The candidates seeking to fill the positions of financial, social, and athletic vice are running unopposed.
A junior majoring in theology, Josiah Murray, is seeking the presidential office of the United Student Movement.
What motivated me to run for USM is I just wanted to make things just a little bit better for each and every student. I saw a need and I talked to God and I saw that I could potentially be the one to make things just a little bit better for every student.
Throughout his campaign, Josiah says he had opportunities to present his manifesto and connect with student body.
3 ways that I wish that I could change the campus life for students is firstly, addressing upperclassmen housing. I also plan to increase our diversity and inclusion here on campus, also by increasing the number of campus cultural events. Oakwood has a wide varying population of different cultures.
The competition was in full swing, but only one could win.
My opponent believes that there is only one person that can accomplish this job. There's only one person that can do it. And he believes that because of his previous USM experience, that he's the only person that can accomplish this goal. But I'm here to tell you today that it is not about his past USM experience. It's not about my past experience in leadership, but it's about who God has called to lead this university. And I believe, based off of what others have told me, based off of my own conviction, that I am the best person to lead this university.
I am Jemina Luz Ferdinand for Oakwood Vote.
Go. Thank you, Jemina, for your stories. I'm here with the Interim Director of Student Activities and USM sponsor, Audrey Johnson. Joining her are students Paris Munini and Pax Fordham. We're here discussing the importance of student engagement in the voting process. Panelists, thank you for being here. So,
Of course.
as you know, about 1,600 students are here at Oakwood University, and only about 20% of them vote. Why do you think this is? And anyone can start.
There's practical issues. Nate, I feel like, again, thank you for inviting me on the show. I feel like
Absolutely.
there's practical issues and then there's general issues. Simple things may just go back to like how we access voting. I was on the floor doing some groundwork today, helping one of my friends campaign this morning. And it's interesting how, you know how when you might do a customer survey for a company or something on Instagram or something, and you may see a link on Instagram and you want to get there, but the account might make you go to a different website or create an account or multiple steps. And literally just because it makes you do multiple steps, you'll log right out. I can't count how many students I've seen today who were willing to vote for a candidate, but just because you had to log into campus groups or because you had to maybe create a different account or create a different password, we lost a vote. So I think things always like that in USM elections and just broader American elections go back to simplicity.
Correct, correct. Anybody else?
I think accessibility as well. Like in addition to what you're saying, I think a lot of students are forgotten when campaigning because you know that not everybody's going to run. So you normally go to the dorms and things like that, and the CAF and Blake, whatever. But there are people in West Oaks, there are people who don't live on campus, and those are valuable votes that you're losing simply because you're not campaigning to them as well. And so I think that the way it's marketed could be an issue because if you're only using social media, I know for a fact, I've heard it before and I've heard it again, hey, I'm not on Instagram. Hey, I don't follow USM. How am I supposed to get the link? Hey, what is the link? And so things like that, I think it just goes back to how you're marketing it. But also some people are just not interested in USM or they don't know what USM does. And so that could be another issue that's going on around campus.
Ms. Audrey?
I think it goes back to the history of the vote. When voting first started, there's many different things. It took 100 years for women to be able to vote. And so once you got to that point, did you really want to do it? Some, of course, because they advocated for so long, they were excited about it. But then there were some like, well, we've been suppressed so long, so why now? And then you look at 2014. You look at, actually, 2016 election. Not many people voted for that election. Actually, they did, because that was Obama. They did, but they were also not as excited because they just thought that, oh, he's going to get it again, and we're going to keep it moving. And then when it came to the 2020 election, then we really had a lot of voters from that youth bracket, 18 to 24, who stepped up. But it just really depended on what was going on and the value of the vote. So you're talking about USM. You have 1,600 students and 20%. I think it kind of just looks like what is going on in the nation as well. And what is instilled in you. Like in our household, my mom took us to the voting polls. We went very, very young. It was something I still do with my son. It's something that we value because we know what the black vote means. And so if that's not something that's instilled in you, then even when you get to these spaces here on campus, it may not have that much value. But it really does because you're choosing the people who are going to represent you in all of the spaces on campus, who will have the voice, as Keelan said earlier, and be able to speak to those people in position to just say what your needs are. And there's a saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the table. So in order to have that voice, you have to be able to be in those positions to make that happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So some of us students are more eager to vote than others, right? What can those students do to encourage other students who are not voting like that to vote and increase that 20% that we're talking about?
I think a text is just as efficient. Today, I was busy this morning, and so somebody was like, hey, did you already vote? And I was like, oh my goodness, you're so right. And just like that, I found the link and I voted, and then I did the same thing. I went to my group chats, hey, did you vote, did you vote, did you vote? And so for those who are interested and who are efficient and, more vocal about it, they should just go ahead and send a text, put it on their story, go up to somebody and be like, hey, literally in person, word of mouth is the best marketing.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. When you have someone walk up to you face to face and say, hey, are you going to vote for me? If you're not, please can you pull out your phone and I'll show you how to do it. That's the best marketing whatsoever I've ever noticed. One thing I've noticed, I feel like, is the biggest complaints about American politics that keeps people from voting is A, politics are corrupt, and B, politics don't do anything.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really think we deal with the problem of politics being corrupt in USM elections, but one thing you would have to convince voters is that their vote is going to lead to actual change. How do you do that? Well, think about what has your USM been doing for you. You may not notice what Keelan and David and the rest of the team have already been committing, but you might want to share that with them.
Absolutely.
I just think it's a matter of not depending on one specific means to get the message out. Your generation does a lot of social media. But there are some people who really aren't on social media, even on this campus as students. And so you may have to, I saw pieces of paper being handed out today. I saw campaigns. I saw people at chapel. I saw people being very intentional about what they were going to do to get that last minute vote. And so you have to be able to be not just in one space, but be willing to be in all the spaces, because when you're representing the student body, you're not representing one demographic. You're representing the international students. You're representing, of course, males and females. And so it's just a matter of making sure that you're letting your voice be heard in all of those spaces, so you're not just depending on one single thing to get more than just that 20%.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I thank you again, panelists. Thank you so much for joining me. The USM gives students
The USM gives students an opportunity to gain experience and perfect their leadership abilities. USM presidents often go on to hold very powerful positions across various industries. Former presidents include Pastor Carlton Byrd, president of the Southwest region of the Seventh-day Adventists. And I'm joined today by Donovan Williams via Zoom from Florida. Donovan served as president in the 2021-2022 school year and is now a finance leadership resident at Advent Health. It's a pleasure to have you with us, Donovan. So tell us, you've graduated from Oakwood, you're working full-time.
All right,
You
hello.
must be enjoying that
I'm
warm
not
weather.
sure
How
if
is
everyone
everything?
Can hear me. When I got the call to participate, of course, I couldn't say no. So I'm just glad to still be a part of the USM family in one way or another, and glad to be here again. Thank you.
How did being USM president at Oakwood prepare you for where you are right now?
Okay, question one. And again, I apologize for the awkwardness. I can't really hear anything on my end. But I'm going to read the questions out. How did being USM president at Oakwood prepare you for where you are at right now? And I guess where I am now is being a finance leadership resident at Advent Health down in Central Florida. I think being USM president kind of gives you comprehensive exposure to leadership, right? And so all of the skills you think of when you think of effective leadership, you
What
kind of
lessons
have
did
the
you learn while
opportunity
being
to sharpen
president?
and develop. And so if I could hone in on a couple of those skills, I think being USM president requires you to have a little bit of social, you need to have some agility, right? Some social agility. So you interact with groups and people from all different I guess levels of the institution, and also on the student side of things, right? So your Dr. Pollards, your professors, your deans, these are all people who have very different perspectives and who play different roles in the experience that is Oakwood University. And so knowing how to navigate those conversations really does a lot, and it's done a lot for me now in my current role at Advent Health. I find it's almost a direct parallel, right? I find myself in meetings where there are your CFOs, your chief operations officers, your CEOs of hospitals. And then on a day-to-day, I'm still talking to analysts, to your senior managers, to your directors, people in your clinical settings. And so having that agility and being able to have conversations with people at different levels on the spectrum, I think was really helpful.
So what lessons did you learn while being president have you applied to your position at Advent Health?
Okay, I think, let's see. Lessons I learned while being president that I've applied to my current position. I would definitely say work-life balance is one of those things I remember many nights, I'm ashamed to admit, I was in the USM house extremely late into the night, until an hour that I will not uh, share exactly. Just working on, I don't know, semesterly reports or getting ready for board of trustees meetings with those subcommittee reports. And so, of course, naturally, I think serving in USM is a form of sacrifice, right? That was something I was very adamant in telling all of the officers who I served with about, right? It's not just for someone who wants to have influence and be able to call shots. It's a sacrifice. But I think there's sacrifice, and then there's a level of sacrifice at which you kind of are doing yourself a disservice and not taking care of essential and basic needs. And so for me, I mean, I was, doing homework and doing USM related work so late into the night. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't eating a lot. And so a lesson learned there is be kind to yourself, give yourself grace, cover all of the bases that you really need to feel good on the day to day. So that's definitely something I've been employing since being at Advent Health. I make sure that I'm getting to the gym. I make sure I'm eating. I'm making sure that I'm doing all of the things that make Donovan feel good on the day to day.
And lastly, how did being president affect your leadership?
My leadership style was heavily influenced during my time as president with the United Student Movement. Of course, like I said before, it gives you a comprehensive exposure to leadership. But one lesson that I learned that I think will stick with me for the rest of my life, and it'll be something, or I guess a piece of advice I give to other leaders, is to rely heavily on your teams. Um, Being USM president, even though I was financial vice president and I was a representative, not necessarily a senator the year before, my sophomore year, it was my first time really being given the responsibility to charter the direction for like a large team of very talented, competent, intelligent individuals. And so because I wasn't used to relying and empowering those individuals to do the work that we needed to do to fulfill the mission of USM, I was kind of relying on myself too much to get certain things done that should have easily been delegated to another person that would have done as good of a job, if not better than I did. And so I think that definitely has added a empowerment aspect to my leadership style, looking for ways that I can bring out the best in the teams that I work on, not necessarily thinking that because you're president or because you're, whatever officer at the top, that you have to do everything yourself. That's why your team is there. And so I think that's one thing that I'll take with me throughout the rest of my life, really, is rely on the people that you serve with. Know that oftentimes they're better equipped to handle certain tasks than you are.
Thank you so much for joining us, Donovan.
Thank you all for having me on the show again. It's a pleasure to be able to still serve the USM family. All the best. I know some of the election results have been shared, but all the best to the rest of the candidates. And thank you again.
So now back to the polls. We have another vote count check from 3 p.m. today. Markawani is now looking, well, at 3 p.m., Markawani was looking at 46.6% with 148 votes, and Malika Jarvis is sitting at 51.74% with 164 votes. Now we're going to toss it off to our reporter Amani Hines, who spoke to some students on campus today.
Thursday, Oakwood University hosted the USM election so student voters can come out and decide who they want to vote for as their next USM executive cabinet.
I'm voting because I've always been taught to exercise my voice and just make my voice be heard when it comes to things like this, even if it's just, of course, on a college campus, but, as I progress through life to make my voice be heard.
There is some frustration from students as they say there hasn't been much difference between the current administration and the one previous for the university.
No, I feel like our voices have not been taken into consideration. Like everybody's voices and everybody's opinions have not been taken into consideration. So I hope with this upcoming election that the people we elect will listen more to the student body.
Some students, like Melody Carter, felt differently.
I think that the previous USM governments, I guess you could call them, have done a good job of listening to students' feedback, but I think that the implementation of that feedback should be the focus of the current or the new board.
Jemison Yalisi, candidate for religious vice president, expects a positive turnout.
I'm very pumped about this upcoming elections. I think that those who are running, I think that they are going to do a positive impact on this campus. I think that God's name is truly going to be glorified.
Imani Hines, Oakwood votes.
Polls close on campus at 5 p.m. We're almost at that time where we'll reveal the results. I know I'm anxious to see them. I can only imagine how our candidates feel in the room. We have a live audience in the studio filled with the supporters of each candidate, and the feeling of anticipation in this room is high. Beside me, I have Josiah and Michael, the two presidential candidates for the 2023 USM election. How are you two feeling right now?
It's good to be here. I guess right now I'm kind of feeling anxious. I think I'm ready to hear the rest of the results and see.
I'm definitely feeling nervous. Most of my positions here on campus have been appointed positions, so this is the first time I'm running for a full position. So I'm nervous, but I'm excited to see what God is going to do here today.
That's good. That's good. So what's your number one goal in becoming USM president?
My number one goal in becoming president is to make things just a little bit better for each and every student. Now, whether that's through upperclassmen housing, through diversity and inclusion, or through sister school relations, I just want to make things just a little bit better for each student.
My number one goal as USM president will be to make Oakwood students feel at home here at Oakwood University. I think a lot of the times Oakwood students graduate from Oakwood University either with a good experience or with a negative experience. And I think one of the jobs as USM president is to make sure that every student feels safe and here at home at Oakwood University. We want the students to come back and give back to the school and to help raise our school up, and making sure that they feel safe here at Oakwood is the number one most important thing to do.
Got you. That's good. So how do you plan to be different from any other USM president that we've had?
I've been at Oakwood for 3 years, and there have been great presidents that have come before me. I think one of the biggest things that I would like to do as USM president is to go up on the representation from the student body. A lot of times I feel like students think that the USM president is just the voice of administration. That is a misunderstanding. The USM president is the voice of the student body and the voice of the students. What the students want and what the students want relate to administration.
To be different, firstly, I have to acknowledge the fact that I don't look like every other average USM president. I have many people that came up to me and said, Josiah, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want to do? And just by being more personable to the people, I want to be a voice, be a light, be a friend to our student body. And also, on top of that, I want to cement the fact that whatever concerns that they have, they can come to me. Anything that is needed, anything they need from administration, anything that they need on campus, they can come to me and I can be that voice, I can be that bridge to accomplish each and every goal that they have set for themselves.
Got you. That's good. So, this one's a little more fun. When you win, or if you win, whoever wins, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
I think when and if I win, the first thing I am going to do is go get food. Because I am starving right now.
That makes two of us.
When/if I win, I think that I'm going to go to Walmart, get me some of that Welch's sparkling grape, head up to the mountains, and just celebrate by myself and enjoy the victory.
Okay, so we have time for more questions. So we're going to keep going. Let me see. Let's get specific. What changes will you make? What changes do you plan on making when you get into office?
Well, one of the first changes that I want to hammer home is our upperclassmen housing situation. Most of us who have had the privilege of living in Wade, Edwards, or West Stokes, or the Annex even, know that there are some renovations that need to be made in order to make our spaces more habitable. So by enlisting alumni support and also by introducing something new called the Choir Games, which will be an interactive way to allow our musical prowess on this campus be showed and also to raise money in order to improve our dorm living conditions. And that's just one of the ways that I plan to improve this campus.
I think one of the first things that I plan to do as USM president in the upcoming school year it's just to have a sit-down talk with administration and the students. Many of the times we do virtual town halls where we hear different presentations from different administrators on what's going on here at campus or what problem are we facing now. And the students get a chance to put stuff in the chat on Zoom. But many of the times stuff is overlooked or stuff is forgotten about. I think an in-person town hall to actually discuss the things that the students would like to see changed or improved here at Oakwood University would be great.
Okay. What are some things you've learned from our current president that you may use in your term?
Well, one of the things that I've learned the most from Keelan is his sternness. If you've ever had the privilege of being in our executive cabinet meetings, when he means business, he means business. And as a natural introvert, when if the students decide rather to place me in the presidential position, I believe that sternness in certain areas are definitely needed to be a rock when I need to be a rock, to be a force when I need to be a force for their students.
So I've had the privilege of working under Keelan Crum for this school year. And one thing I can say about Keelan Crum is that he loves the Lord. Keelan Crum is always making sure we have worship. Keelan Crum makes sure that we pray. I think him being as a theology major and a future and upcoming pastor has helped lead USM spiritually. As you may or may not know, USM Sabbath is coming up, and he's steadily working with our religious vice president, Samuel Brand, to make sure that that's an impactful weekend for our student body. I definitely want to keep up the spirituality that I've seen within USM.
That's good, I like that. And each of you, just give a statement that you would like your people supporting you to know.
For the people who have supported me and who have voted for me, I thank you guys so much for supporting me on this journey. Since freshman year, even before that, in high school, I had the dream of becoming Oakwood's USM president when I came here. I remember sitting in church and one of the pastors told me to dream the impossible dream. And I did that. I dreamed the impossible dream, and now I'm here today sitting as the United Student Movement presidential candidate. So I thank you for my supporters. I thank you for the people who voted for me. I thank you for my family who supported me throughout everything, my whole journey here at Oakwood University. Thank you.
Well, to my supporters, my family, the people who voted for me, as well as my campaign team, I want to thank them genuinely for all the support that they have given to me. Like I said, I never had the dream or aspiration to run for a position like this initially, but as I began to be pushed and pushed and pushed further and further, I began to see that this is something that I really could do. This is something that I really could make my own, and something that I could do to impact this entire campus. And so my team, every time that I got to the end of my rope, they told me, "No, Josiah, you have a little bit more to go." And when I thought I was finished and I would laid on my bed and I said, "I don't have any more to give," they pushed me a little bit more. When I called my mom and my dad and I said, "Mom and Dad, I'm tired," they said, "Josiah, just keep on going, keep pushing." So I want to thank my supporters, thank the voters, thank my family here, my Oakwood family, for all of their support, because I truly could not have done this if it had not been for them.
That's good. Thank you both. Thank you so much, and good luck to you both. So we have some fun events coming up for the spring semester. The USM Banquet is one such event. Let's take a look at this promo.
Just about at that time, folks. The results are in. It's the moment everyone's been waiting for.
Nate, I know I'm excited. Who do you think's gonna win?
I have no clue. It looks like a tight race. We'll just have to see what the results are.
You want to do the honors and read?
Yes. For president, the winner is, at 58.66%, Michael Hall. For executive vice president, the winner at 50.5%, Malika Jarvis. For parliamentarian, the winner at 53.7%, Lauren McIver. For financial vice president, the winner at 94.06%, Kyla Scott. For religious vice president, the winner at 49.5%, Jevizin Ulisti. For social vice president, the winner at 93.81%, Kalechi Nwachukwu. And lastly, the winner for athletic vice president at 90.1%, we have Gabriana Jean. Congratulations to the successful candidates. Congratulations to everyone for running for student elected office. You are all winners tonight, and you should be proud of yourselves for stepping up. Right now, I have with me the winning candidate. Right now, I have with me the winning candidate, President-elect Michael Hall. President, how are you doing?
Good.
Congratulations on a good win.
Thank you.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I'm just happy to be able to serve the student body again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there a vision, or what vision do you have, if you have one, for this upcoming term?
I think, and I'll say it just like I've been telling everybody. I am not your average leader. I am Michael Howard Hall. This upcoming year, the academic year of 2023-2024, I believe will be the best year yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, obviously you have high expectations, you have a good outlook for this upcoming year. How will you galvanize the people up under you in USM and push them to be the best student government that they can be?
Well, I've had the privilege of working with some of the current leaders who are currently in USM, who have won their campaigns and won their races. And I think they're amazing people, amazing leaders. I've had the experience and the opportunity to lead Senate this year. Thank you. Yes, I've had the experience and the opportunity to lead Senate this year and push forward initiatives, help them get their things done, help them make an impact with the student body in their different departments, different dorms. And I think that I can bring that same energy, the same ideas to USM.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there any last words that you have for the student government, the student body, any words of encouragement or anything that you would like to say?
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for voting for me, all my supporters, my family, my friends, my Oakwood family. Thank you so much. I am looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to all the things that I plan to do in this upcoming school year with the people who have been elected to serve the student body. So once again, thank you guys.
Yes. Well, we thank you, President-elect Michael Hall. Congratulations once again on a successful election. That's all for tonight, everyone. We are grateful for your support of this event. On behalf of Professor Dominic McKenzie, Paulette Gates, Parliamentarian David Reed, the USM, and the entire production team, thank you for watching. And I'm Nate Taylor. Have a good night.